If you don't make some sacrifices for what you want becomes what you sacrifice. 7 life lessons that I wish I'd known earlier. Let's get to it. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know which one was your favorite. Lesson 1. Collapse that gap between idea and execution. When I look at what has helped me to make significant progress to what I now get to do today, one of the major contributors has been having a strong bias towards action. I used to be someone that was stuck in overthinking, thinking about my thinking, and as a result, not really going anywhere. What I came to understand, especially since becoming an entrepreneur, is that while enthusiasm is common, execution is rare. You don't get compensated for your ideas, you get compensated for your output. Here's what's important about collapsing that gap between idea and execution. Clarity can only come from taking action. Momentum can only come from taking action. Insight can only come from taking action. We never get given the map up front about the path ahead, but when we take action, more of that map starts to unravel in front of us. We get shown what the next step is, and that is a result of the action that we take today. The law of action states that when you make moves towards what you want makes moves towards you. As the author John Maxwell wrote, many people allow their lives to simply happen to them. They float along, they wait, they react, and by the time a large portion of their life is behind them, they wish they could have been more proactive and strategic. To increase the odds of your success, you must think in decades, plan in months, and execute daily. It's about putting yourself out there and planting seeds on a regular basis, because you never know which seed you plant today will eventually blossom and become an orchard. Lesson 2. Make sure you are climbing the right mountain. It's far better to be climbing up slowly the right mountain than to be climbing up fast on the wrong mountain. Focus on direction over speed and you are more likely to enjoy the journey. Something I've noticed is that too many of us are exhausted, not because we are physically doing too much, but because firstly, we are doing too little of the things that bring us joy, and secondly, we are running someone else's race. This is why it is important to make sure that you are living a life for you and not a life for others. It is also why the longest journey we make as humans are the inches from our heads to our hearts. Never an easy journey, but the most important and fulfilling that you will ever embark on. I worked hard to break into the financial industry, getting the degree, reading the books and sitting the exams. I did it to please others and for the money. And as a result, I thought I would be successful. But all I got was exhaustion, burnout, and depression. I felt unfulfilled. Once I started focusing on my own journey, however, and did the work that brought me joy, beautiful things started happening. I worked with dream coaching clients, got invited to media channels like Sky News to share my insights and wisdom, traveled the world to speak on stages at conferences and organizations, and landed a book deal to publish my first book, Energize, with Penguin Random House, the world's largest publishing company. When you have clarity on what matters most, you awaken one of the greatest sources of energy that there is going. As the Indian philosopher Patanjali said, when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, your thoughts break their bonds, your mind transcends limitation, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourself to be in a new great and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents awaken, and you discover yourself to be far greater than you ever imagined. Lesson 3. Obstacles do not block the path, they are the path. Or as Ryan Holiday would say, the obstacle is the way. It is from these challenges that you enjoy your greatest personal growth and discover more about who you truly are. Because the greatest opportunities often come disguised as challenges. You must embrace them fully, for they are the catalyst for your growth. Failing my second year university was one of the toughest moments of my life at the time, but it taught me the importance of building relationships, especially because I couldn't apply for the jobs in the usual way. The global financial crisis disrupted my career path, but gave me the opportunity to do the internal work required in order to pivot my life journey towards the entrepreneurial path. And being rejected again and again redirected me to opportunities that I could never have imagined before they occurred. Things won't always unfold the way you expect them to, and sometimes it ends up being the best thing that could have happened to you when looking back. As Alex L. beautifully noted, I am thankful for my struggle, because without it, I wouldn't have stumbled upon my strength. Life is less about what happens to us and more about how we choose to respond to what happens to us. Lesson 4. Take responsibility for your life. Life begins when you take full responsibility for where you are today and where you want to be. If you are relying on others to change your life for the better, you are giving up your power and emotional well-being to them. If they are able to help, great, but we shouldn't live our life depending on the outcome of their decisions. It's easy to blame others when things don't always go the way you would like. It's harder to accept responsibility and focus on what you can control. Daniel Priestley, in his interview with Stephen Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO, calls this with or without you energy. I am going to do this with or without you. After all, you have to be able to sell you to you first before you can sell you to others. The only permission you need to live your dreams is your own. And here's a powerful reminder that I could have benefited from listening to when I was younger. What makes you different is a superpower. You were born with unique gifts, talents, and skills. Discover what these are and share them with the world. Once you take responsibility for where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow, you move from interest to commitment, and you live each day with greater intention. Lesson 5. Care less about outcomes and more about your habits. Extraordinary results automatically follow extraordinary habits, and this is because your life will never change unless you change something you do daily. I experienced burnout on multiple occasions during my time working in the financial services industry, and it wasn't until I stopped making my health a side hustle that I understand the power of good daily habits. When I made my physical energy and health a priority, the rest of my life started transforming. When I got more sleep, sufficient rest, a better, more nutritious diet, and moved my body on a regular basis, all other areas of my life started to fall into place. When you have the right habits in place, you not only set yourself up to win again and again and again, but you stack the odds in your favor of getting those so-called lucky breaks. So the question here is, if in 12 months' time, you are exactly where you are now, how would you feel? Now imagine if instead of avoiding the things you know you should do, you actually did them every day. Your biggest breakthroughs are on the other side of courage. Take tiny acts of courage today, and you will begin to realize just how powerful you truly are. Lesson 6. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. When you do what is hard today, tomorrow will be easier. When you do what is easy today, tomorrow will be harder. This is one I certainly wish I'd learned earlier. I made the easy choices when I was younger, of eating junk food over learning how to cook healthy, nutritious meals, of playing short-term games over long-term games, and seeking validation from others instead of finding peace with being true to myself. Wisdom, I came to learn, is understanding the long-term consequences for the decisions and choices we make in the present. Too many of us prefer comfort today and pain tomorrow. The fact is that while avoiding the uncomfortable is the best short-term strategy for peace, it is also the best long-term strategy for unhappiness. This ability to do hard things is one of the most powerful skills that you can develop in yourself, in your children, and those that you lead. Nothing meaningful in life is easy. We can feel jealous about other people's success, and often it is not because we want the accolades and praise they have, but because deep down we know we're not doing the work to get there or where we want to be in our life. Life is a series of trade-offs and choices. Question is, are you going to be making good ones or bad ones? Because if you don't make some sacrifices for what you want becomes what you sacrifice. Lesson 7. Extraordinary results come from doing ordinary things for an extraordinary period of time. This lesson is all about the power of consistency and understanding that consistency always beats intensity. I shared a post on social media showing a then and now image. In the then image, It showed a picture of me delivering a speech to a small room of attendees at a time where I was balancing a day job with a side hustle and the dream of one day doing the work that I now get to do today full time. In the now image, it showed me speaking at the San Diego Convention Center to a packed room of corporate professionals from across the United States. The difference between the two images was 8 years, nearly a decade. I went from working a 9-to-5 job in the financial services industry to becoming a coach and international speaker. I went from speaking in front of local audiences to speaking in front of global audiences. I went from seeing books written by authors that inspired me to seeing my book in bookstores alongside theirs. And the message I wanted to share with my audience was this: overnight success is not real. What looks like overnight success is the result of consistent action compounded over time. This is why you must be patient with the journey and impatient with taking action. Bonus lesson: be a learning machine. One of the greatest skills that we can develop in a rapidly changing world is the ability to adapt so that we can thrive over the long term. And this skill is driven by our ability to embrace an eternal student mindset, a white belt mentality, and to be a learning machine. As the futurist Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And what's important to note is that learning does not stop with formal education. It marks the beginning of your real education. For the truly successful person is a student of life. They know that life teaches you the wisdom that you can't gain from education alone. And so they're constantly stretching their minds, taking on projects that challenge them, and following their curiosities and passions that ignite their energy. Many of us live as if we are never going to die, and then die having never really lived. Let's focus on living, not just existing. As Andy Dufresne said in the film The Shawshank Redemption, get busy living or get busy dying. These are the life lessons that I wish I had known earlier. If you made it this far, thank you so much for staying with me. Let me know which lesson you enjoyed the most and any lessons you wish you had known earlier. I look forward to reading them because we all have stories to tell and lessons to share. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.